powdered sugar, the same thing. I'm going to call it powdered sugar. 117 grams of powdered sugar. You'll need 2 large eggs, 2 large eggs, 2 large eggs, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 large eggs. And lastly, for the main ingredients, you'll need 53 grams of granulated sugar, or just white sugar, white, finely ground white sugar. I also have on here raspberry jam, which I will use to fill the macarons, and a little bottle of pink food coloring. For this recipe, you should use only gel food coloring or powdered food coloring because the consistency can affect the batter. This is a very finicky recipe, and I'm gonna go through the kind of like steps that you need to make sure are correct to get this recipe right. I'm gonna call them checkpoints. You have to reach each of the checkpoint before moving on to the next step. That's why a lot of people, I think, are intimidated by this recipe, because you have to kind of really be precise about different steps to make sure that they turn out well. So you'll need your almond flour, powdered sugar, granulated sugar, 2 eggs, some jam of your choice, and food coloring of your choice. And that's it. That's all the ingredients that you will need. So I'm gonna get started with the cooking part so that you can see each checkpoint and understand why it's so particular. So I have over here my almond flour, super fine, my confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, and then I have my 2 eggs and my granulated sugar. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna set the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit so that it can start to heat up. So that is gonna set and start to get warm. Next, I'm going to take care of my eggs. So for this recipe, you don't want super cold eggs, and we're only going to be using the egg white. The egg white only. Egg white only. So I'm gonna take my eggs, I'm gonna crack them and take out the white and separate it from the yolk. There's all sorts of ways that you can do this, but old school way, I just like to use my hands. looks good. Okay, and I'm gonna take my powdered sugar. I'm gonna put in the sifter, okay? Sift, 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 sift. Alright, and the powdered sugar looks super fluffy and good. Everything's great. I'm actually gonna take this one more time. I'm gonna dump it in my sifter and put the bowl back under and just sift everything one more time to make sure there's no lumps or bumps. Lumps or bumps. If it's lumpy, bumpy, it'll affect the recipe, so we don't want that. Sift, 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 sift. Okay, put my sifter away. Alright, do you see how everything looks just like so soft and so fluffy? That's what we want to see. No clumps, no bumps. Alright, so we're gonna put this aside because we don't need that till a little later. In the meantime, I'm gonna set up a couple things. So I'm gonna have to take two baking pans, just like cookie baking sheets. And I'm gonna take this. This is a silicone mat. I'm gonna lay that out. Do you see how the silicone mat has these circles on it? They have circles. That's what we're going to fill with our batter. I personally like the silicone mats because it allows me to just peel the cookie away very easily. There's no wrinkles under the cookie. It just works well. So I have one pan. I'll take the other silicone mat and unroll it and put it down in two mats. Two pans. I've got my two pans with my two silicone mats ready to go. I'm also going to take I'm gonna take one of these. What do you call it? A piping bag. It's a piping bag, and I'm gonna just snip the end off. I'm gonna snip the end off, and then I'm going to take this is a round piping tip, and I'm just going to gonna put this at the bottom of the bag, and I'm gonna put it so it fits down at the bottom of the bag. Okay. Next, I'm going to take this cup. It is a tall cup, like a regular drinking glass. I'm going to take the bag and I'm just gonna roll the top open a little bit, almost like if you were taking a lunch bag and rolling it open. I'm gonna roll the top and I'm gonna twist the end with the piping tip. I'm gonna put it in the glass and roll it over the side of the glass. As you can see that way, when I pour my batter into it, it is in this tall glass, and it's just easy to take out and twist. Just a little hack. I'm gonna move that over for later as well. Alright, our oven is preheating. I think we can get our egg whites now. And we're gonna get our egg whites and our regular granulated sugar, okay? For this recipe, you should use some kind of mixer. I personally have a KitchenAid mixer that I got as a wedding gift, so I'm going to use that. But you can use any type of mixer that works. And you can do it by hand, but it's a little bit more of an arm workout. So, I've got my KitchenAid mixer here. I'm going to lift up the top and take out the bowl. I'm going to dump my egg whites into it. I'm going to dump my sugar into it. it should be making stiff peaks. And if you don't know what stiff peaks are, then basically when you mix egg and sugar together for a period of time, it should become this like fluffy cloud of a mixture. And the longer that you stir it, the more fluffy and solidified it becomes. So we're gonna get it to the point where it is stiff peaks, and I'll show you what that means. But how we do that is we start by turning on our mixer, and we're gonna turn it up to 4, which is one of the lower settings on the mixer. And we're gonna set our timer for 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes. We're gonna do 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes on 4, 2 minutes on 4, okay? And then once that's done, we're gonna turn that up, and we're gonna do 6, 2 minutes on 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 6. Okay, and then we're gonna turn it up to 8, and we're gonna do 2 minutes on 8, 2 minutes on 8, 2 minutes on 8, 2 minutes on 8, 2 minutes on 8. And then we're gonna turn it up to the highest setting for 30 seconds to a minute. We're gonna turn it up to 30 seconds to a minute. And all the while, as you are going to each of these settings, it is very, 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 very important that you are checking to make sure that the mixture is not changing consistency to something that you do not want. So you can take it off of the stand and be checking it that way if you want. But we're looking for stiff peaks, so I'm gonna turn this off now, and I'm gonna unhook it, okay? And you see how it looks like these kind of like clouds of mixture, these clouds of mixture, these clouds of mixture. I'm gonna take my whisk attachment, detach it, stir, 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 and I'm gonna take it out like this. And you see here how the batter forms this triangle at the top, and it is not bent over. That is a stiff peak. Another way to know is if you take this and you just flip it upside down. It's not falling, it's not moving. That's how we know that we have stiff peaks. If you have this triangle and it's bent a little bit and it's still floppy, then you haven't reached the checkpoint yet. You want to do a little more stirring. But you have to be careful not to overstir as well. This is probably one of the trickiest parts of the recipe, okay? So you need to be mindful of not to be too soft but not to be too stiff. It's really tough, but you'll learn. You can watch YouTube videos and everything about how to do this. So we have this ready to go. The next part is the next checkpoint. So we have had 3 checkpoints so far. The sifted mixture, getting to stiff peaks, it should make a figure eight that looks not super clumpy, and it runs together like a smooth ribbon. There's no stops or chunks. It's smooth and it runs in a smooth figure eight, and you can make even maybe more than one, and then it kind of just melts back into the batter. That's what you want to see. That is the wet sand ribbons. That is the wet sand ribbons, okay? So once we get to that consistency, then you are good to go. I skipped a step that's not as important when you do it. So I have my little gel food coloring here, okay? The gel food coloring or the powdered food coloring needs to go in when you are doing the blender or when you're macaronaging, okay? So I guess I can just make these white because I forgot. But you want to put some drops in either when you are doing the stand mixer or when you are doing the macaronage so it mixes. Again, you have to do a gel or a powder because of how finicky the batter is to like wet ingredients. You don't want it to be runny or anything. So I start with a couple drops and see how that looks, and then you can add more. Don't forget that you see that now it's like the almond flour gives it like a little creamy look, but the egg and the sugar was like a very white texture. So basically you want to make sure that everything, when you put enough stuff into the batter, it makes it really dark looking. So that's why sometimes you need to put a little bit more of the food coloring in to really make the color seen, because don't forget when you put it in the oven as well, it will lighten up even more. So put enough food coloring in. You don't want to go overboard, but start with like a decent number just to see what looks good. Okay, so now that we have this, we're gonna take our spatula and we're going to get our cup over here with our piping bag, and we're just gonna scoop and shh, 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 shh. We have all of the batter in here, okay? Move this bowl out of the way. We're gonna take the cup and put it down. We're gonna take our piping bag out and we're just gonna twist the top. Twist the top. So that we have our nice piping bag here, okay? And the end is still bent so the stuff doesn't just come running out, okay? So we're gonna get one of our pans. And this is the next checkpoint, okay? So we had the sifting checkpoint, we had the stiff peaks, and then we had the wet sand ribbons. Now we have to get the batter onto the tray and let it sit so it gets a little film. So it gets a little should get like a little bit of a film on the top so you can actually touch the top. You can touch the top and you won't get any batter on your finger and you won't ruin the top. So that's gonna allow the cookie to rise so the